What if the way they bathe is the first clue their brain is breaking down? Not memory loss, not confusion, but something quietly strange happening in their daily routine. Over 40% of dementia cases begin with subtle, everyday behaviors that most families overlook, and bathing habits are one of the earliest to change. In this video, you'll discover 7 bizarre hygiene behaviors that caregivers have reported in real dementia cases, often years before diagnosis. Spot them early, and you could help protect someone you love. Before the damage becomes permanent, let's begin. Number 1. Showering fully clothed. 4 years before her diagnosis, 76-year-old Ruth began stepping into the shower with her clothes still on. At first, her husband thought she'd made a mistake and laughed it off, but it kept happening. She said things like, "It saves time," or "I'll wash everything at once." Over time, she began pouring shampoo directly onto her blouse and rubbing it in like soap. When asked why, Ruth got defensive and said, "It's all the same to the water." One afternoon, she went outside soaking wet, wearing her robe over drenched jeans, and told a neighbor she had just finished cleaning the laundry inside her skin. That moment led to a full medical workup, and doctors diagnosed her with Alzheimer's disease. Experts confirm that showering with clothes on can be a sign of executive function breakdown. As dementia progresses, the brain may confuse steps in a routine, blur personal boundaries, or misinterpret objects and their purpose, especially during private tasks like bathing. New dementia videos daily. Feel free to subscribe. Number 2. Undressing in the wrong places. 3 years before his diagnosis, 69-year-old George began doing something strange before his showers. He started removing his clothes in the hallway instead of the bathroom, saying it was just easier this way. At first, his wife laughed it off as a new habit, but then he began doing it in front of guests, casually unbuttoning his shirt while walking past the living room. Over time, it got worse. One day, he draped a towel over his shoulder, walked outside shirtless, and stood in the driveway, as if waiting for something. When asked what he was doing, George replied, "This is where the faucet is, right?" That string of odd behaviors finally convinced the family to push for a medical evaluation, and doctors diagnosed George with Alzheimer's disease. Studies confirm that undressing in the wrong place can be an early sign of dementia-related spatial disorientation. As brain function declines, seniors may confuse locations, forget boundaries, or misread social cues. This isn't just odd behavior. It's a clear sign the brain is losing its sense of place. Number 3. Showering at 3 a.m. without realizing it. 80-year-old Virginia began waking up in the middle of the night to shower. At first, it was once or twice a month. Then over time, it became nightly. She claimed she had somewhere to be, even though no plans existed. Her husband would find her dripping wet at 3 a.m., fully dressed and brushing her hair in the mirror, with the lights off. When asked why she was up, she'd reply, "It's morning already, can't you tell?" One night, she turned on the hose in the backyard and began soaping her arms under the stars. That's when her family pushed for testing. Virginia was diagnosed with mixed dementia, both vascular and Alzheimer's. It happened nearly 2 years after the bizarre showering pattern began. Studies show that nighttime showering, especially when disconnected from real-world routines, can reflect early circadian rhythm breakdown. As dementia takes hold, the brain may lose track of time, confuse day and night, and fixate on tasks that once had structure. Many dementia cases are caught too late to reverse the damage because families didn't recognize the early signs. By the time memory loss begins, the brain may already be in irreversible decline. That's why noticing these strange habits early can make all the difference. Number 4. Using buckets or sponges. 3 years before his diagnosis, 78-year-old Edwin suddenly stopped using the shower. Instead, he filled a small bucket in the sink and used a sponge to clean himself, saying it felt more natural. At first, his daughter thought it was just a quirky new habit, but Edwin started skipping parts of his body, sometimes just patting his arms with a damp cloth. He insisted the shower was too modern and said the water comes out wrong. One day, his daughter found him trying to dry off using newspaper. Over time, Edwin began brushing his teeth with hand soap and claimed his own reflection was a stranger. That's when the family pushed for a full evaluation. Doctors diagnosed him with Alzheimer's disease. Studies show that switching to unusual or outdated bathing routines can signal early brain dysfunction. As dementia develops, seniors may struggle with step-by-step tasks, avoid water-related fears, or revert to methods they used decades earlier. These changes reflect more than preference. They expose deep disruptions in thinking. Number 5. Refusing to shower out of fear. 75-year-old Lorraine suddenly stopped using the shower. When her daughter asked why, Lorraine just said, "I don't like how it feels anymore." At first, the family thought she was just being stubborn, but soon after she started saying the water was unsafe and the shower head looked angry. Over time, she began locking the bathroom door from the outside and refused to enter unless someone stood by. One day, she claimed the tiles were moving like snakes and started crying when the water turned on. Over the next 2 years, she began unplugging the microwave at night, saying it was listening, and once called 911 on her son, convinced he was an intruder. After a full evaluation, doctors diagnosed Lorraine with Lewy body dementia. Studies confirm that sudden fear or distrust of the shower can be an early red flag for brain dysfunction. As dementia develops, the brain may misinterpret sounds, lighting, or movement, making once familiar routines feel dangerous or threatening. Number 6. Avoiding showers because they already did. 74-year-old Lawrence suddenly quit bathing, insisting he had already showered even when he hadn't. At first, his wife thought he was joking, but he started skipping entire weeks, always claiming, "I took one this morning." When she showed him the dry towel and untouched soap, he'd grow irritated and accuse her of forgetting. Over time, his behavior grew more unsettling. Once he sprayed cologne on his arms and said, "See, I'm clean now." Later, he even refused to change clothes, saying there was no need since he just showered yesterday. Eventually, Lawrence even forgot how to turn on the shower. That's when his family pushed for answers, and doctors diagnosed him with Alzheimer's disease. It was 2 years after he began acting strangely, and his family regretted not catching it sooner. Experts confirm that when seniors insist they've already bathed, despite clear signs they haven't, it may be more than forgetfulness. Dementia disrupts memory, distorts time, and can trigger anxiety around routines. The result isn't laziness, it's a brain losing track of what's real. Number 7. Obsessively arranging toiletries. 4 years before her diagnosis, 72-year-old Eileen began spending a long time in the bathroom before every shower, not bathing, but organizing. She would line up her shampoo bottles by color, stack soaps by size, and adjust each towel until the edges matched perfectly. If anyone moved something, she'd become visibly distressed and start over. One morning, her husband found her still arranging after nearly an hour, the water untouched. When asked why, she said, "The bottles have to feel safe before I start." Over time, she began categorizing her food by color, writing the same word repeatedly in a notebook, and crying when the cereal box was out of order. That's when her family pushed for answers. Doctors diagnosed her with frontotemporal dementia. Experts confirm that obsessive rituals, especially around bathing, can be an early warning sign of dementia. As the brain's flexibility breaks down, repetitive behaviors may take over, often reflecting anxiety, confusion, or a desperate need for control. If someone you love is showing any of these strange bathing habits, don't ignore it, because they may be the brain's first quiet warnings that dementia is taking hold. The earlier you spot the signs, the sooner you can get help and possibly slow the damage before it's too late.
And there you have it. What are your thoughts? Next, dive into this video for more essential tips to transform your health and help you thrive. You're going to love it. Thanks for watching Healthy End, and we'll see you there.